Welcome back to the channel where we break down every twist, turn, and heart-stopping detail from the world of football. Today we've got a blockbuster analysis of Arsenal's trip to Anfield, a game that had everything except the ending Mikel Arteta and the Gunners wanted. Make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and stay with us until the very end, because what I'm about to share is the kind of insight every Arsenal fan needs to hear. This wasn't just another away day defeat. This was a clash of titans decided by the finest of margins, by one breathtaking free kick that shifted the balance. Arteta admitted afterwards that he was proud of his players because both sides raised their game to such a level that there was hardly anything to separate them, hardly any space inside the boxes, hardly any clear-cut chances. Matches like this come down to either a mistake or a moment of genius, and unfortunately for Arsenal it was Liverpool who found that spark with a stunning strike that ended up being the difference. For almost an hour, Arsenal were playing their plan to near perfection, staying compact, creating phases of play, and frustrating Liverpool's rhythm. Arteta even said you can't dominate Anfield for 95 minutes. It's simply impossible, but the Gunners managed those moments well until that one lapse left them chasing. He was clear about the next step. In big away games, you simply have to take your chances. Arsenal had 3, 4, maybe 5 moments inside the box, one-on-ones that should have been finished, but if you don't put the ball in the back of the net, you don't walk away with 3 points. It's as simple as that. Injuries played their part too. Losing Martin, losing Kai, losing Bukayo Saka just before, and then the shock of losing Saliba in the warm-up meant the plan was torn apart before the game even began. Arteta admitted it was almost zero margins after that, but he still praised the way the players adjusted and fought. Even the decision to start Saliba was a gamble, and within 5 minutes Arsenal had to rip up their defensive setup. That changes everything in such a massive game, but the manager trusted the players' own assessment and took the risk. Critics will say Arsenal should have pushed more risks themselves, maybe started ease from the beginning, maybe gone for broke, but Arteta defended his decisions. Ease has only been with the squad 4 or 5 days, and it's a huge step to throw him straight in from kickoff. Still, when he came on, he gave Liverpool problems, and fans will wonder what might have been if he had been introduced earlier. What's vital now is narrative control. Arteta knows that the outside world will start whispering that Arsenal still can't get it done in the biggest away games, but his job is to protect belief inside that dressing room. He reminded everyone that Arsenal were much better than last year at Anfield where they drew, that this performance was progress even though the result stings. For large spells, Arsenal had Liverpool suffering in front of their own fans, something you rarely see. The truth is this was week 3 of a 38-game marathon. Yes, it's a setback. Yes, injuries are a concern, but in the bigger picture, Arsenal looked like equals to Liverpool. Apart from one jaw-dropping free kick, there was nothing to separate the two. Pundits praised Odegaard's cameo for adding spark, acknowledged Arsenal's defensive solidity, and reminded everyone that set pieces remain a huge weapon for the side. But there is a warning sign. Arsenal cannot become robotic in attack, relying only on dead balls to win big matches. They need more creativity, more off-the-cuff invention, more risk in open play to truly take that final step. Liverpool showed that sometimes a special goal is what it takes, and Arsenal will need their forwards to take those same risks when the chance arises. Arteta's substitutions were solid, the game plan made sense, but the Gunners lacked that decisive edge. For all the talk last season that Arsenal needed a finisher, some analysts argue it's actually about creating more. The XG numbers don't lie. Arsenal don't generate enough open play chances, and that has to change if they want to topple City and outlast Liverpool across a full campaign. Still, the positives are there: resilience, defensive strength, better depth on the bench, and a performance that shows Arsenal are not far behind the very best. This defeat doesn't define the season. It highlights where the growth still needs to happen. Arsenal fans, if you're watching this, the message is clear. Belief cannot be lost. Clap your hands for a brilliant Liverpool free kick. Acknowledge the tiny margins, but remember the journey is long. While the result left Mikel Arteta and the Arsenal faithful disappointed, the performance told a story that cannot be ignored. So make sure you smash that like button, drop a comment, share your thoughts, and subscribe because this is going to be a deep dive into why this game mattered, what it revealed, and what it means for the season ahead. Now, let's be clear from the very start. Arteta himself admitted that he was proud of his players despite the defeat, because the Gunners raised their level to match Liverpool in almost every aspect. When you are up against one of the best sides in Europe, inside one of the most intimidating grounds in world football, that is no small achievement. The margins were razor-thin, almost invisible. This was a match with little space inside the boxes, where chances were limited, and everything was going to hinge on either a costly error or a piece of individual brilliance. Unfortunately for Arsenal, it was the latter, a moment of pure magic that turned the tide. Liverpool found that spark with a thunderous free kick that reminded everyone that sometimes even the perfect game plan can be undone by one breathtaking strike. For the first hour, Arsenal's plan was unfolding with near precision: compact structure, discipline in possession, and controlled pressing phases that frustrated Liverpool's rhythm and quieted the Anfield roar. Arteta pointed out that it's simply impossible to dominate Liverpool for 95 minutes on their own turf, but the Gunners navigated those inevitable stormy patches with maturity and focus until that single lapse left them trailing and chasing. The question Arteta raised afterwards was simple: in the biggest away games against the strongest opponents, you must take your chances. Arsenal had 3, 4, even 5 clear opportunities inside the penalty area, moments where one-on-one duels with the keeper should have been finished off. But football is ruthless. If you don't put the ball in the back of the net, you don't take the points, no matter how well you play. That is the harsh reality the manager and his players now face. It wasn't just about finishing, though. The build-up to the game was overshadowed by injuries that ripped holes in the plan. Losing Martin, losing Kai, losing Bukayo Saka the week before, and then losing Saliba in the warm-up was a nightmare scenario. Saliba even tried to start but had to come off within 5 minutes, a gamble that backfired and forced Arsenal to restructure the defense against one of the most dangerous front lines in the league. Arteta admitted it was a risk, but one he felt had to be taken in a game of this magnitude. You ask the player if he can go, he says yes, and in matches like these, managers are tempted to roll the dice.